I would just get like this overwhelming feeling that I just need to go upstairs and cry.
What's up, guys? Sorry that it's been a while. If you checked out our last video, you know we had an addition to the family.
We had some big changes to our life.
Yeah, so we apologize. And obviously with COVID and the quarantining, you know,
hasn't been much to film.
Exactly.
We can't go anywhere.
So, but this video is very important and we hope you guys just stay tuned for it. We'll make it as short as possible, but it needs to be spoken about. Alright, so the first thing is obviously going to be, what is it? The sleep.
Yeah, that's the most common
Everyone
thing you hear.
says, yo, you're
Get ready to never sleep again.
Never sleeping again, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, like,
the whole thing. That's not always true.
And that's the number one warning.
And that's the first thing everybody tells you. You know what, I'm going to let you talk about that because we have different views on it. So let's run through that.
After the first 2 weeks, your body just adjusts to it. Like, but the first 2 weeks are brutal. Because you go from literally sleeping like, well, me, at least 8 hours a night. Like I was
10. 10.
Yeah, like I loved my sleep. So, and then now I'm going from that to waking up literally every 2 to 3 hours. So it's like, I don't know how I'm functioning. I don't know how I'm like doing it, but your body just takes over. It just goes into like autopilot kind of thing. But after the first 2 weeks, it's fine. And take that advice of sleep when the baby sleeps. Like that is what I did. We would have people over and I'd be like, I'm going for a nap, bye. Like, you have to do what you have to do to literally just survive those first few weeks because it's rough in the beginning.
Yeah, so we can give you guys that problem and the solution. Mm-hmm. The whole sleeping thing, everyone hears that. Like Jasmine says, definitely try to sleep when the baby sleeps.
And I still do it. And he's all going to be 7 months.
Yeah, so this is, you know, almost seven months later. So we're giving you a pretty decent review, I think.
A review.
You know? But
no refunds on this one.
In terms of my view on the sleep now, I definitely slept pretty good. I would say I definitely slept pretty good. At least better than Jasmine did. Because now we got to take into consideration the fact whether your spouse or partner is breastfeeding or bottle feeding and that.
So if we were, like, we are exclusively breastfeeding.
Exclusive.
Which means that I was the one having to basically wake up in the night because Richard doesn't have food.
Right.
So. But if we were bottle feeding, the responsibilities would have been a little bit more. I don't know if responsibilities.
No, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, a little bit more balanced. But
I could have helped out a bit more, right?
Yeah.
But that leads me into this thing that no one really talks about now. The fact of a partner, a spouse, as a guy, how useless you could feel, especially if your partner's like breastfeeding. Like I didn't know that I was gonna be in a position where they're never gonna really need me. Like it's something that we had to talk about in the beginning. I'm like, yo, I thought I was gonna be like a lot more involved, you know, but it's just you constantly, like I felt so bad for her because she constantly has to either be sleeping, to have energy, to feed him. I've told her I had no problem if we wanted to give a baby formula and things like that, but she really just wanted to breastfeed.
And we did sometimes in the beginning. Like
yeah, I mean barely, but we tried it sometimes. That's how difficult it is. So we go back to accept help if you can. Luckily for us as well, we're saying all of this even though we've had my mom come fly in and she's been with us for the last 10 months. Honestly,
but literally just the fact that I didn't have to cook for like the first really 5 months, like at all, was like, I don't know what I would have done if I had to do that.
Trust
you would have
me.
just been ordering food because you just don't have the energy. So you need the it takes a village.
It really does. Honestly, accept the help. So definitely those are the two basic things I can think of.
The most common, I feel like, that we've heard like while pregnant the first time.
Yeah, but now let's talk about like the crucial part. Like I'm gonna try go in order based off of what I remember. The postpartum. As a guy, I didn't know what to expect in terms of that. People say, yo, you obviously partner, your spouse could be hormonal and you know they could take things out and
like
do
the
whatever.
Emotional side of it.
Yes, I definitely want Jasmine to give her piece on it because it's important that women, especially new mothers, listen to these type of experiences.
I don't know, I always prepare for the worst and you always hear about like postpartum depression, like really bad and you know, intrusive thoughts and all that stuff, which is completely normal, and if you're having that experience then there is like resources and you need to get help. But for us it was just like, I would just get like this overwhelming feeling that I just need to go upstairs and cry. Like for no reason. I specifically remember like one time just walking up the stairs and just saying like, oh, I'm so tired, and then I was just like, oh, I'm so tired, and I just sat here on the couch and just started bawling, and Richard's like, what's wrong, like, what can I do to help? Like, there's literally nothing wrong, like, I feel fine, but you just get these episodes of you just need to cry, and you just need to let it out. Like, that is the only thing you can do, is just feel it, accept it, and then just let it pass. Trying to minimize it or act like everything's fine, I feel like only makes it harder.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it was okay.
Because it happened a few times, and obviously, as a concerned partner, I was very concerned. I didn't know what to do. Goes back to me saying again how useless you can feel sometimes, right?
As a partner, like, Richard did everything right. Like, he'd always be like, I would be feeding Mazzy, and Richard would be feeding me food so that I wouldn't have to like do it afterwards. So I was doing two things at once, even though my hands were full, and making me sleep and making me go take a bath. I'll take the baby. Like, just being that supportive partner and making sure that I was also taking care of myself so that I could take care of him. It made all the difference, and I think he doesn't realize how helpful that really was.
I appreciate that. Which makes me want to tell the guys, definitely try to, if your wife or your partner, whatever, is going through something like this, like the breastfeeding, for example, not even breastfeeding alone, they need breaks. They still need breaks because it's so much work. Even if you're helping, I'm telling you, I try to tell her, listen, you just take the day off, go somewhere, spend time with your girls, go shopping, just get away.
Yeah.
Trust me, they need that time. They need it. So just try to do that. Even if it's one day, you're like, yo, just go ahead. I got the baby for the full day. Don't even worry about it. Like, make it a thing. I recommend you guys do that.
Yeah.
And that's something no one really told us either. We just had to, communication, and we realized like, yo, you need to do this. Mm-hmm. And I felt like times as well, because especially all this happening during COVID, you're locked in at home all the time.
It really affects your mental.
You need your breaks. You need to get away sometimes. Another very, very important thing that people don't talk about is how one feels right after birth. This specific thing we experienced, which we didn't know we would feel this way, was for the first few weeks or a month or so, we're like...
Well, for me it was like a few weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would say that. About that, right? We felt like we're babysitting someone's child. You know what I mean? It's just that it didn't click right away.
Yeah, people would be like, they instantly just felt this overwhelming feeling of love, and like from the moment that he's put on your chest, you just feel it. And for me, I was like, thank God that labor's over. Like, this is my baby, yeah. Like, this is my baby, but it wasn't like sobbing, hysterics. Like, I thought I was gonna cry for sure, and I didn't.
Right.
When they put him on my chest. But.
And it's not like we're not having any psychological problems, and not like we're not financially stable or ready for the child. It was none of that.
Yeah.
It was just, I guess, it all happened kind of fast, and we talked about it. I'm like, is it weird that we feel like we're just babysitting someone's child? It still doesn't feel real, I guess, that it's ours.
It's just such a surreal feeling.
You know? So... And
I think maybe because it's so built up, like this initial feeling, that if you don't have that same, like, euphoric
that
beginning,
everyone talks about,
that it's like, well, I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
And you feel like something might be like maybe wrong.
We looked into it afterwards. Jasmine did her research.
Are we the only ones that feel this way?
Yeah, it was very common, and people are scared to talk about it because you feel like you're gonna get judged.
We've even had someone tell me like, you can't feel like that, Jasmine. You're the mom. How can you even say that? And I was like, well, it's true. Like, I love him. He's my baby. But that first week or two, I was like, it doesn't feel real. Even when I look at it now, I'm like, I can't believe you came from inside me. Like, it's insane sometimes to like wrap your head around what the body can do. Like, we literally made this. So but it still feels kind of surreal. Don't
get us wrong. We don't feel like that now at all. Like I said, it was just for the first few weeks in the beginning.
What are you doing?
But playing on my watch. Don't feel weird if you don't in the start.
Yeah, we really want to like break that like negative connotation around people's feeling like they should be ashamed of that, because it's very normal. From what I've seen anyways, from what I've read, like so many mothers have said the same thing. Like they felt like they were just babysitting for a bit.
Yeah, after doing the research and we saw that, and obviously it's not like we need somebody else's approval in terms of telling us how we should feel. It's also sad and depressing to see how people feel a certain way and they can't express it because of worrying about what somebody else is, how somebody else would feel or say to them. You understand?
And that same feeling is what feeds into like your postpartum depression,
Right?
And your like anxiety and stuff like that. Feeling like you can't be honest about your feelings or that you're wrong in how you feel. It would just make you go crazy.
You must have the discussion, especially about these things. Yeah, we definitely wanted to talk about these few things and introduce the prince right here.
Yes, baby. What's been the best and the worst thing about new parenthood, or like being new parents?
The best and the worst thing about being new parents.
The best thing is just like whenever he wakes up and looks at you, he just smiles. Like literally the instant he sees you, he's just like.
Boom. That is
you
a
can't
very,
wake
very good
up
feeling.
unhappy when this child is grinning at you like you're his favorite person.
He
in the
spots you and the grinning and I mean, he's only 6 going on 7 months, but he already crawls and stands up on his own and things like that. So he crawls to you as fast as he can.
Has to
and
climp
that's
up your
like,
legs.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best feelings.
Yeah.
Me as a new dad, I love seeing it. I love how excited he gets just when he sees me. And that's probably the best thing. I think the worst thing would be...
For me, it was just the sleep change. Because everything else you learn as you go. So it's not like, nothing is terrible. Everything is just a learning curve. So it sucks in the beginning. Breastfeeding sucks in the beginning, but then after a few weeks, you learn it.
Yeah.
Teething sucks, but it's all temporary.
The worst thing was probably labor. That's probably the worst thing.
Good point.
So, other than that, trust me, you adapt. It's really not as bad as everyone. Honestly, I can't explain the feeling. And if you guys are gonna be new parents or new parents, tell us your experience. Let us know how you feel. If you have any comments about the video, any questions, let us know.
You can relate.
We will be back. Stay safe.
Say bye. This is the reality.
Puppy.